Hey everybody, what's going on? Icy Cat here. Two new skins have been added to Siege, and they're both absolutely free, but only under specific conditions. What are they, and how do they look? Let's take a closer look next. While we talk about both these skins, I'm just going to have some Terrorist Hunt playing in the background. Both these skins just came out yesterday. I haven't really had any chance to sit down and play some multiplayer with the new skins. I just put together some real quick Terrorist Hunt footage. Nothing fancy at all. This is just purely to show you what the new skins look like in action. St. Patrick's Day is here, and once again we have another free skin to celebrate the holiday. This skin pattern is called Lucky. It's available for all of the guns in your armory, it's not specific to any one model, and it's completely free. It became available yesterday and will be available until tomorrow, Friday, March 18th at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. After that, the free exclusivity period ends and you won't be able to get this anymore. All you have to do is sign into the game, connect to the server, and you'll have access to it right away. But if you don't connect to the server before 1 p.m. Eastern Standard tomorrow, you'll have lost your opportunity. I mean, there's really not much to complain about. They're completely free and completely optional. I think it's pretty cool that the dev team puts out complimentary content like this every once in a while. Like any of the skins that apply to all of the guns at once, this is just a generic texture that gets wrapped around. It isn't specifically modeled for any given weapon. As such, the generic pattern is going to look a little better on some weapons than others. The second free skin that came out yesterday is this Division exclusive skin. It's only available for the UMP-45 submachine gun, so you'll be able to put that on either Castle or Pulse. This skin is completely free, but comes with some exclusive conditions, and that's that you must have played either the Division in the beta or own it currently. Now, if you've never played the Division in either form, you won't have access to this skin. Now, there's a little confusion on the access to these skins if you played the beta but don't own the game, and I fall into that category. I played the beta, I do not own the Division, but when I signed in yesterday, the skin popped up on the screen letting me know that I now had access to it. I applied it to the weapon and played around with it just to check it out. I've had other people say that they played the beta but don't own the game and they couldn't find it or didn't get it. Some people suggested having to go into Uplay to unlock it. I can't confirm that. Again, I just signed into Siege and it popped up immediately letting me know I had it. There just appears to be a little bit of discrepancy on some people getting access to it and others not. And I'm not sure what those qualifiers are for those of us that have played the beta of the Division but do not own the game. Now, if you own the game, you should be able to get this skin automatically, no problem. And it is a very nice looking skin. I think a common complaint so far is that the skins have been really lackluster, and I agree 100%. There's been a few tier 5 skins that look really sharp, but other than that, the rest of the skins in the game have just been sort of this generic wallpaper skin. Thought I'd take a moment and just let you know my thoughts on the Division, since this is the weapon skin for that game. I have a lot of people that bring it up in the comments or mention it on Facebook or Twitter to me, ask me if I've played it, what I've thought about it, and I've honestly got some pretty mixed feelings about it. I don't think I'll be picking up the Division in the long run, but it was a very close call for me on which way to go on this game or not. So let me start with the positives. This is a great looking game. I mean, the graphics on it are stunning. It is just an immersive world. There's lots of detail. The environment is great. It's just really neat that way. It has a good storyline going on. The campaign is very interesting. It has a lot of content and substance to it. I love the gritty setting. I love the realistic weapons. There's a lot of attachments and customization available. You can customize the appearance of your characters. There's just a lot going on and so many good things about it. Unfortunately for me, there's two things that just kind of took it out of the awesome category and brought it down a few notches for me that I can't get around. The first is third-person combat mechanics. Now, I do want to clarify, I'm very much looking forward to Ghost Recon Wildlands when that comes out, and that is a third-person game. However, the combat mechanics are first-person. When you aim in that game, you switch to a first-person view and can shoot like a first-person shooter. In the Division, you don't, unless you have very specific scopes. But if you're aiming with some kind of a reflex sight or a red dot, maybe you have iron sights only, it's still like over-the-shoulder aiming with like a crosshair sort of a thing. I just don't like that. I don't like it at all. I like to have my first-person aiming mechanics in place. Now, most people aren't going to care about that at all. That doesn't bother them, and it's just a concern of mine. I don't like that kind of gameplay. The other problem I have with the game, and frankly, this is a bigger one for me, and that's that it uses a DPS system for combat mechanics. That stands for damage per second. And what that means is that your gun will do a certain amount of damage per second of fire. The target has a certain pool of hit points to work with, and your weapon will chisel away at those hit point pools based on whatever the damage per second of your weapon is. I'm used to mechanics in a first-person shooter where if you headshot somebody, they'll go down, or if you get a couple of shots to their body, they'll go down. With this setup, I can hose down a target repeatedly. I might even have to swap magazines before I drop a single target. They have levels, so if they're significantly higher level than you, it's going to take significantly longer, and you might have to change magazines a few times to finish a target off. You can line up on their head and do headshot damage, but this headshot damage doesn't drop them like it does in a first-person shooter. It's just like you're just taking bigger chunks out of their health instead of the normal chunks you take out of their health, but you're still having to chip away at their health pool to kill them. And I find that annoying. If I have to put like 30 bullets into a target to drop them, that's not very fun for me. And frankly, it breaks the immersion. I mean, I wind up feeling like I'm shooting marshmallows out of my gun, and it's just not enjoyable. And the higher the level a target is, apparently if you come across a target that has a name, these named targets are like harder, almost like not quite boss level characters, but just they're more than your average run-of-the-mill grunts that you're running to in the game. And when you run up against them, I mean, I feel like I'm throwing tissue papers at them instead of rounds of ammunition. Now, I'm aware that as you level up your character, you'll do more damage. But then you'll also run into enemies with higher levels and they'll do higher damage and have higher resistance as well, so it sort of continues to happen throughout the game. You combine these two factors together and it's just overall not for me. That said, I completely recommend this game. It is a fantastic game. There is so much good about it. A lot of people like it. This game is breaking sales records all over the place. I think it's like smashed Destiny's first day sales record, and it's continuing to just like go through the roof, and it's doing great. And I love to see a good Tom Clancy game do great, especially a new, untested, unproven franchise that's fantastic. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions on if I've played The Division and what do I think about it. Bottom line is, it's a great game. I recommend it. It has a lot going for it. Personal preference for me, just can't get into the combat mechanics, but I know that's not going to bother a lot of people, so you should definitely pick it up and check it out. It is a really cool game. Just be aware that it's more of an open world role-playing game with levels and damage per second, and it's not going to be like a Splinter Cell or a Rainbow Six or a Battlefield or anything like that. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm also collecting submissions for a Q&A session. I get questions and comments all the time here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all over the place. I get questions all the time, and I figured that it would be better to maybe just kind of do this collectively and do a little bit of a back and forth, give you guys a chance to ask me some of the specific questions that you've been wanting to know more about. Doesn't matter if it's about Rainbow Six. It can be about the time that I spent out with the development team last year. I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, so there are certain things that I can't talk about, but some things I can. It can be about just making a YouTube channel in general, or how you run it, or what you think about it. It doesn't have to do anything with that at all. I kind of like to do these things every once in a while. I did one last summer as well, and it just gives me a chance to connect with my audience, and I've grown so much since last year, and the audience is so much bigger. I think it's really neat to give you guys the opportunity to sort of interact with me directly in that way and respond to some of your questions in a more personal format. So once I've collected enough submissions, I'll go ahead and do a video on that, probably in the next week or two. In the meantime, you can shoot me a question in the comments down below, or else you can leave it over on the Facebook or Twitter pages as well. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest for Rainbow Six Siege. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.